Portland police are getting more officers on the road this weekend. They've warned about a planned illegal street takeover somewhere in Portland. Thanks for joining us on this special edition of KGW News at 7. I'm John Adams. Police say their first night of increased patrols to deter street takeovers has been effective. These are preliminary numbers from Friday evening to early Saturday morning. 50 traffic stops, 7 arrests, 4 towed vehicles, 11 citations issued. PPB says during an attempted traffic stop, 2 people were killed and another was seriously hurt after the driver of a speeding vehicle tried to evade police. This played out just before midnight. 2 Gresham police officers tried to pull over a speeding driver in the area of Northeast 122nd Avenue in Hancock Street. The officers activated overhead police lights to stop the driver, but the driver did not stop. The driver then crashed into a utility pole and rolled over on Northeast 122nd Avenue in Mark Street. 2 people died at the scene and a third was taken to the hospital by ambulance. At a similar event last year, police tell us there was 1 homicide, 2 shootings, and a deadly car crash.
It puts me on edge because I've got my oldest daughter's a driver. My middle kid wants to drive. Probably my best interest, tell them just to avoid the area. If there's even a risk, don't go to Airport Way, don't go to any area where there potentially could be, speed racing or circles or whatever the kids are doing nowadays.
PPB says to be aware of Marine Drive and Airport Way in the intersection of Marine Drive and Northeast 122nd this weekend. If you encounter a street takeover event happening, turn around, head the opposite direction if you can. Don't call 911. To tie up the line unless you find yourself in a dangerous situation. The city of Portland has recently switched their focus and funding toward addressing ongoing gun violence. Today, our Sydney Dorner spoke with smaller organizations doing the footwork to meet high-risk youth heavily impacted by this problem. Sydney?
John, we often talk about bigger city leaders work to address chaos across the city, but there's also many volunteers working to tackle the problem. Today, grassroots organizations met at Cully Park to have a good time while also discussing traumatic issues. All of these people you see pictured have lost their life to gun violence here in the Rose City, leaving an imprint on their families and the young people who surround them.
A lot of my friends have been shot and killed.
2 of my closest friends have been shot, 1 in the shoulder, 1 in the head. Both have made really good recoveries and are fully healthy now, but both were before the age of 18 and I was really young, so it was kind of a weird learning period for me, I guess.
Just last week, city leaders met at Dawson Park to address their efforts to combat shootings, not only in that North Portland area, but the city as a whole. Mayor Ted Wheeler says a $2 million federal grant is going towards violence reduction efforts in the Hazelwood, Powellhurst, Gilbert, and Elliott neighborhoods. But smaller scale organizers like Jennifer Hardnett say people like her who work hand in hand with improving the lives of marginalized young teens are often met with the challenge of receiving no money and no attention from the city.
A lot of these youth, when they lose someone that's dear to them, it impacts them in so many different ways. It's hard for them to concentrate in school. It's hard for them to engage with their peers structurally. And then also it makes them feel like they need to pick up a gun too.
Which is why she's done the work to figure out how much they need.
It would take at least $10,000 to $20,000 a month of investment in over 100 youth in order to keep them from engaging in gun violence.
Helping put together a bullet-free weekend event this Saturday at Cully Park, creating a positive environment for other organizers to brainstorm ways to get funding directly to young people they say have suffered the most from ongoing shootings, like Brother Nolan from Black Men in Training, who leads the mentorship program.
We all know how to help and advance our city, so give us the chance or just give us some money so where we can actually go out there and do what we need to do. The work is going to get done regardless, but we would actually appreciate if we had some funding behind us.
Invest more time in the people that are actually trying to help the youth out in their community and be a little bit more a part of it.
Now, organizers say city funding would go towards teens' basic needs and their future education. John, back to you.
All right, Sydney, thank you. Well, new this evening, about 2 hours ago, Portland police took a man into custody after shutting down a busy area of Portland's Oldtown. Police say around 4:20 p.m. the man was armed and making threats on Northwest 5th Avenue. He barricaded himself inside the Ground Control Classic Arcade and Bar. Tactical teams quickly arrived on scene to help assist. The suspect was taken to the hospital under police custody to be evaluated. Officers say he was under the influence of an unknown drug. Police also mentioned that the suspect could face charges for the threats he made. Those will be determined at a later time. 15 people are displaced this evening after a fire broke out at an apartment complex in southeast Portland. It happened just before 7 this morning. Fire crews were sent out to southeast 72nd and Foster, and when they arrived, the heavy fire prompted a second alarm response. The firefighters were able to control the fire within about 20 minutes. No injuries were reported. A cat was also rescued from inside the building and reunited with its owner. 9 out of the 12 apartment units were affected, including the roof. Fire officials are investigating what caused the fire. And we're following the latest on a brush fire that broke out in the Dalles yesterday afternoon. As of this morning, all evacuations have been dropped for residents in that area. A brush fire sparked in an industrial area around 3:30 in the afternoon. The fire spread to a storage facility, destroying several units in one car. The facility is close to the Norcor Corrections, but the fire did not spread to the prison and no one was evacuated from inside. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. Well, we are taking a live look now from our Pioneer Square Skycam. Finally, some relief from that heat we've seen over the past few days, and a great day to get outdoors on this Saturday. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri joins us in the Weather Center. That heat's coming back, though, Joe.
It is, man. This little cool down was short-lived. It's nice to get a little break in between the heat waves, and that's right. We're going to be looking at another heat wave popping up heading into the later part of next week. We'll be warm tomorrow, but first I want to get into the thunderstorm threat. It's not going to be here locally, but the more east you go along Highway 20 over into parts of the mountains, Mount Jefferson area, Mount Bachelor especially, you will be seeing some of those thunderstorms roll through. High fire danger tonight and into tomorrow as well. Where you see this red color, that's that red flag warning. We also have some watches and warnings throughout parts of Lynn and Lane County near Roseburg as well. Now, here's a look at the radar right now. You can kind of see some of those showers starting to push off a little bit over the Cascades, but not really impacting us west side of the state. What is impacting us, though, are those clouds. In a few locations, it felt pretty muggy out there earlier today. Down in Lakeview, you've been dealing with some severe weather. Some of that blue, it might be kind of tough to see from this vantage point on the radar. I don't have it zoomed in tight enough. You are looking at some hail that's popping up. So you have some downpours, some windy conditions, and again, the threat of some lightning strikes as well. Some of those lightning strikes, the concern there, John, could produce more wildfires, which we've been dealing with really the last month or so. I'll talk more about your detailed forecast and just how hot things will be getting heading into next week.
All right, Joe, thank you. We'll see you in a little bit. And a traffic alert for the weekend. The Hawthorne Bridge is now completely closed to traffic. It's part of a year-long project to pave and repair the bridge. Drivers are going to need to pick another bridge, while detours have been set up for bicyclists and pedestrians. The bridge is set to reopen Monday morning at 5. And speaking of traffic control, the Oregon Department of Transportation is dealing with a budget shortfall. ODOT says it needs to close a gap of some $350 million in the 2025-27 budget. And that could mean, under its current funding, cutting nearly 20% of its workforce, which is roughly 1,000 jobs.
It's really bad. It would mean less pothole fixing. It would mean if you get in a crash that there probably won't be a responder for as long. It would mean slower DMV service. It would mean vegetation crowding the roads.
ODOT will submit a proposed budget to the governor later this month, who will then submit her own proposal to the legislature. Lawmakers who are also looking at the option of new taxes or fees will make the final decision sometime next spring.